prioritizing your growth is never selfish, and it's actually essential to your own education of yourself, what it is that you want in life, who you are as a person. For so long, you were told who you are, right? Really think about it. I mean, in every generation, including our children, right? We're definitely not all going to be perfect because perfection's not real anyway. But you really think about it, like everybody in life is just kind of like, oh, okay, well, this is just what you do. Like, you hear that a lot. Well, it's just, I don't know, it's just what you do, right? Why? Like, why is that? Like, why? Because people tell you that? Well, because you didn't have anything else to there's no, like, I don't know. You're allowed to believe something spiritually that other people don't. You're allowed to try a new path in life. You are allowed to date somebody or not date somebody. You're allowed to not have children. You're allowed to go into a profession or do something for yourself. Okay. And it's not guilty. There's zero reason to feel guilt there. The problem is that it's not a problem. The issue is that you want to grow, right? You're like, okay, yes, I'm tired of this. I absolutely want to grow in life. I'm tired of it. This is what it is. Like, this is where I am. But then you also go, oh God, that's different. Like, I mean, yes, I don't like this, but what about this? And so what happens is you get very comfortable in your chaos. Anybody does, right? It's this weird, chaotic comfort. It's not abnormal. It really isn't. It's a normal part of like, oh God, I don't like this, but I know how to function here. Realistically, like if you grew up in like an abusive home where you had those things, it sucked. You hated it, but you almost knew, terrible, but you knew how to be almost like prepared in a way, right? So now what you're telling yourself is, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to find out who I am, find out the things that I like in life, find out what I want to do for me. And there's that part of you that still holds on to it. So you'll think, oh my God, is this selfish? And what if I lose people? You will. And that's a good thing. That is an amazing thing. It's not losing people either. It's getting people out of your space that do not align with your growth. So while you think it's selfish, of course you're going to think it's selfish because of your people pleasing ways, or you're going to think it's selfish because grandmother tells you it's selfish, or your mother tells you it's selfish, or somebody says, I can't believe that you're doing that. Like, that's terrible. What about everybody else? And for a lot of us, I mean, I'll be 53 in April. A lot of us, for many years, we were told, you never put yourself first. That is so selfish. You never do that. That is the biggest manipulative lie that you carry into your life. No, like, that's mind blowing. And once you get to start seeing the manipulative behavior that a lot of people that raised us have, doesn't always mean that it was like intentional. It could just be their way of trying to control it because that's what they experience. I'm not making an excuse, but I'm letting you know it's not always somebody just sitting in a corner going, right? That doesn't mean that you have to deal with it. A lot of people are not going to understand it. Like if they grew up going, okay, we maybe go to school, maybe we don't. It's fine. We get married. We have 2.5 kids. And I mean, it's just what we do. So why aren't you doing that? Like, you're behind time. Like, why aren't you dating somebody right now? Well, what if I don't want to have kids? What do you mean? Like, you got to have kids. Why? You don't have to have children. You really don't. You don't even have to get married. You don't. And you don't have to believe the same spiritual religion that somebody else has that you grew up with. You don't. You don't have to do those things. And you have to understand that when that happens, people who were once able to sort of like emotionally blackmail you and put you into a little box that made it comfortable for them, people don't like to not be in control. So if someone had control over you and had a way of saying different things about your situation in the past, and now they don't, they will try to emotionally blackmail you. That's literally all they know. But what you have to remember is, on this growth journey, it's amazing to distance from people. It's amazing. And they may distance themselves from you, right? Because they might be like, okay, well, I don't like this. And then they'll try to emotionally blackmail you in that way and being like, well, then we just can't be friends. No, okay, that's good. That's not emotional blackmail now. That's freedom. So you have to realize that as you're aligning this path, you have to understand that just because everybody is going in this direction, you don't have to go there. You can create this direction, even if it's all like trees and you got to chop things down and you got to find your way. That's good. Oh, you ran into something. You got bit by something. You're fine. You'll be all right. Dust that off. That's how we have resilience. But there is zero reason to be guilty and feel selfish about putting yourself as a priority. No. And think about the good that it actually does for other people. You have to be your biggest priority over your relationships, your kids too, like your kids in general. But the beautiful part about that is you're teaching these children and the people around you actually how to do the same thing. You're not necessarily teaching it. Let me rephrase that. You're inspiring them to possibly do the same thing. A lot of times people will get upset too because they want to do it, but they don't know how. They might not have like, okay, not to say the balls to do it. You know what I mean? Like they may not have that right now. And so they're going to try to lash out or they're going to try to control the narrative. But babe, people are observing you. They don't have to like it, but they still see what's going on. So very often you're teaching somebody when they need to protect their peace, yes, including your children. Yeah, they can say to you, I mean, respectfully, but they can say, Mom, listen, I just need a minute. Like, I really don't want to talk to you about this right now. I need a second. Well, hey, yeah, good. You can't also have your own growth and then try to stifle somebody else's, right? Don't let people stifle your growth and don't try to stifle somebody else's. And you'll notice that will become less and less. You'll feel less guilty. You won't feel as controlling when you are doing the things that you need to do for yourself and walk into the unknown. Baby, the unknown, the vibrations are so high. It's like, hey girl, come on in. It's a club. And you're like, yeah, I really want to come in, but I don't know. Am I going to be all right if I walk in there? It always works out. The unknown every time works out, just not always as you want it to, because it'll work out in the aspect of it either works out or it really doesn't work out. And you're like, okay, I know what's not good for me. So it works out anyway. But you have to be clear in that. Again, when people for so long have lived in a limited belief, right? We're all born with a limited belief, but like a lot of us want to try to get out of that. But if people are just living with like horse blinders on, well, if you tell me something that I can't see or I don't like, I'm going to be like, it's dumb. I don't like that. Why are you doing that? That's stupid. Like, you have to understand that when people tell you this, it's because they're not doing it themselves. So I want you to really think about that, because you putting yourself as a priority is a must. It really is a must, because this means that you're not going to procrastinate as much. You're going to show up for yourself, right? Just because you're by yourself or you're living alone or whatever the case may be, if you're constantly procrastinating, you're watching too much television, you're on socials too much, you're doing all these things, you're delaying things, you're just saying that you don't deserve to be able to put yourself as a priority, believe it or not. And so your energy is going to always stay in a low vibrational pattern. So to elevate that vibration, you're going to have to start putting yourself as a priority, and it's going to feel uncomfortable and people are not going to like it, but it's not selfish. It's never selfish. So I want you to start really thinking about, hey, because that goes to attachment and codependency. Well, what if I do lose those people? That's okay. They were there for a reason or a season, maybe not a lifetime, and that's okay. But I promise you, elevate your vibration by being your biggest priority, and it's going to feel scary and it's going to feel weird, and that's good. Do what scares you, baby, always.